You are now listening to Carlie's Couch with Lextopia
and CC Fierce. This week, we talk about visualization. What is it, why it's important, and how you can implement it into your day.
Welcome to Carlie's Couch. Thank you for joining us today. We're in the 80s still of our episodes, almost to 100, so get ready. Put somebody on before we get to the 100th episode. I am Lextopia.
CC Fierce.
And today we're going to talk about visualization, and it's something that I feel like we mentioned before as a way to get to maybe one of our other topics in talking about meditation and peace and calm. But today we're really going to go through it and talk about what that can really look like for you to start practicing.
Yeah, it's something that you hear about from like life coaches and athletes and people like billionaires and people who make a lot of, or who have made a lot of money. Like Jim Carrey is famous for saying like he wrote himself a $3 million check and then he actually got that amount later. And that's like, okay, cool. But what really is it, and how can it like be implemented into our lives as we move about from our day to day?
Yep. But before we get into the episode, we do have a review that we're going to read from Lynn's A. And we just got this a few days ago. It says, love it, 5 stars.
Hey.
I love y'all's dynamic on this show. This is one of the podcasts I consistently listen to, and I appreciate how much valuable content is offered week after week. I've been a listener since the beginning, so thank you for giving me topics to think about and spark discussions within my inner circle. Keep doing what you do. Thank you.
Yeah, shout out to you.
Yeah, and I want to say thank you, too, because even if you're somebody who's been listening for a while, we still appreciate if it takes you 80 episodes to leave us a review. So it's not too late. Leave us a review and 5 stars.
Too late. Yeah, we appreciate y'all, especially since you've been here from the beginning. 80 episodes is a lot of episodes, but I personally love it because I feel like I can listen back to some and get advice from Lex and myself, and also be like, man, I've grown in that area. And I just love, like, each week we challenge ourselves to talk about things that help us continue down this path to living our best life. So Lex, whenever I talk about visualization, like when I say that, what is visualization to you?
To me, it's thinking about your future and envisioning, seeing your future in your mind.
So it's just thoughts of like what you want your future to be in your mind?
I think it's the thoughts and the feeling of being in that place and seeing it and smelling it and hearing it.
I like that. It's kind of putting yourself in that position, like where you want to be. So visualizing like in the future where you want to be or how you want something to turn out. Like when I think of visualization, I think a lot of when it comes to like sports, because that's when I first started learning about visualization. And so it's like, envisioning yourself winning that race or performing or doing whatever in that exact way that you want to get that desired outcome. And that helps you, perfect your practice. But visualization is really just a focus of your energy. It's a concentrated dreaming. And I really like that definition. It's being able to construct our lives on the inside, from the inside out. So from our brains, from our thoughts, and then bringing it to life. And it's a tool to improve ourselves, our mindset, and working towards, that ultimate goal or life that we want, whether it's a relationship, whether it's self things, any of that.
I need to visualize these mic stands holding these heavy ass mics up.
Heck yeah. So if y'all are watching,
we got some new podcast equipment, and sorry, I'm like getting us off course, but it came with these other brand stands to help you get started, but we definitely need to get some heavier duty ones. But we're messing around with the mic, so sorry if you hear it in the audio. But yeah, I like that idea of visualization, but why is it something that everyone doesn't just automatically think about doing?
I think we do it. I just don't think we do it intentionally, right? I don't think that that's something that everybody wakes up like, man, I'm going to visualize my day today.
I would add to that I think most people visualize the negative of things.
Oh, absolutely.
Instead of being intentional about anything they're actually visualizing. And that if you stop to think about what you actually visualize the most, is probably what you don't want to happen.
And that comes in the form of worry, of fear, of worst possible outcome, like, psyching yourself out before a big test or whatever. And I would 100% agree. So I think everybody visualizes. I think the way we're talking about it, using it as a tool to get towards what you want as opposed to not, or what you don't want, is the change.
I guess for me, visualization fits in transforming your thoughts into being.
Yeah, I like that. That reminds me, there's a Bruce Lee quote when he talks about becoming like water, because water becomes whatever you put it into. It becomes ice. It becomes whatever river or bowl, like whatever you put it in. So it's not necessarily an act of trying to do something, but rather becoming. So I really like that. And that's why I asked, because I'm very intentional about language. So yeah, I definitely want to be able to change that language. So how, I guess we can get into like, how do we actually visualize it? And so now we know it's a tool to help us, to help be able to see ourselves in places and feel, whether it's like being more successful or whatever that goal is. Like, what are some of those steps to actually visualizing and being intentional with it?
Well, first of all, you have to have a goal. So being clear on what it is you are accomplishing. And whether that's a thing or whatever it is. But again, I would say to make sure you go farther than that, to think about the why you want that thing and make sure that all of that is clear as well. So having those clear goals and knowing, what you actually want.
And I think if I like that, because I think you can visualize the negative all day, but whenever it comes to putting yourself like where you want to be in the future, actually like being there and being able to see it and feel it and really transporting yourself, like becoming it, you have to be kind of clear on what that is. Some of the advice, like as I was researching, is it said like start off, if you are new to visualization as a tool, starting off with something that's a little bit easier. So maybe not 50 years down the road, I want my legacy to be this is my house. Maybe you start with something a little smaller and a little bit closer to you in the future so that you can practice like getting there. So they're saying like choose something that's fairly easy to believe in, that you feel is possible, and then practicing with that first. That way you don't have to fight against all the negative resistance in yourself. And as you slowly integrate it, the idea is that you'll be able to go a little bit deeper and push a little bit further.
What's the negative resistance in yourself? What do you mean by that?
So what I mean is, let's say today's my first day of visualization and I want to be a billionaire. But looking at my current circumstances, my brain and body are kind of like, not to say that you can't do it, not to say we're not cheering you on, but
like when it doesn't feel real.
It's a little bit questionable. Yeah.
You don't believe it.
Yeah, so you don't believe it. So maybe starting off with something like, I'm gonna make $250,000 next year. Like, oh, okay, that's reasonable. Like I could do that. And I'm not telling you to like size your dreams down to something that's realistic, because I hate that word. But whenever you're starting as a tool with visualization, maybe that's something that you can do. So like for me, relating it to a very real thing, my fastest mile time is like a sub 7 mile. Haven't been there in a while. So my first one visualizing is like maybe like low 7s. Because right now I'm probably like high 7s. So I visualize like low 7s, how it's going to feel when I cross that finish line, when I do that, and then slowly starting to bring it in, as opposed to starting with, I'm running 4-minute mile today. So I visualize every day. Like I try to, whether it's like something small, like today's going to be an amazing day, like, things like that, like how I'm going to feel accomplished at the end of the day.
It sounds like setting an intention for the day though. What are you visualizing?
Like feeling accomplished, like getting all the things done, like making choices and moving from a place of love, like just being kind of clear on how I am in that day. But I also work for longer, like goals that are a little bit further out and things that aren't happening immediately. Like I also visualize, but there's not like a consistent schedule for that for me. Is there a schedule for you, like on kind of like when you visualize things?
No, not at all. And I don't do it intentionally. I don't think. I mean, every once in a while, if I'm really thinking about something, or like maybe that's what my brainstorming is. No, not really. It's not. If I do it, I'm very clearly trying to just take myself there to feel something, but I don't do it intentionally often, I don't think.
Okay. So first we started with a goal, and then Lex had mentioned like being able to like feel it and see it and smell it. And so whenever you're working on visualization, whether it is something that's, like your day or something a little bit longer term, making sure that in your head you can see this clear picture so you can feel exactly how you would feel after you accomplish that thing or whenever you reach that point in whatever it is. So being able to envision this scenario like exactly as it would be when you're in it is the next step.
Focusing on it often, do you have like some kind of set schedule or something that you think people should focus on?
I think it depends on what you're trying to visualize. Whenever I went to Unleash the Power Within with Tony Robbins, and like I said, a lot of life coaches, a lot of people use this as a tool all the time. He says to do it every single morning for 30 minutes, every single morning.
Why would it depend on what you're doing though?
I'm saying that's a personal thing for me.
Oh, okay.
So like, for example, every day, if you want to envision your day and how it having a certain outcome and, you know, approaching it a certain way, like moving from love and growth and accepting the world as it is, like maybe that is like a 10-minute one you do every single morning. But Tony recommends doing the 30-minute one, and in it, he has you envisioning all of your long-term goals. He has you envisioning, you know, 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, how it feels when you're in that house that you want ultimately, when you reach those ultimate things. And so I don't think there's a wrong way. I think that we have to find the sweet spot for ourselves and whatever that is.
I think what's most important is making sure you have them framed right, because I think you can still be repeating the same thing or feeling and be focused on the feeling you're trying to escape versus what you're trying to get to. And so I think really the most important thing, besides like how often you do it or the style and all of that, is making sure that you're focused on the right thing. For me, I would say even recommend to write them down. And that way you can look at it and make sure like, all right, where is this coming from? What's my language that I used? And like really check them. And that way you should have a feeling of positive energy around your visualizations when you do them. It shouldn't be based off the pain you feel or based off the pain that you want to escape. So putting positive energy into it and really like smiling and feeling it and, you know, enjoying that breeze or enjoying your house or whatever it is that you're visualizing, because that's what makes it real. And that's the feeling that you'll realize is the same thing that you can have now as when you have that thing. So you don't have to wait. I think that's kind of the key to visualization is that it shows you that you don't have to wait for that thing to feel this way. And so now if I feel this way, I'm not coming from a place of scarcity on this journey towards it.
Can you give us an example of like what, like the framing? So like maybe using the same goal or the same thought and framing and then reframing it in a positive light?
What's the thing you might visualize for?
Getting.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
What's yours?
I was just gonna say getting new clients, like meeting my like financial goals.
So you're visualizing and you're thinking about how does it feel to have these new clients? I'm kind of asking you, sorry. How does it feel to have these clients?
I feel excited. I feel motivated. I feel like I'm in alignment.
Okay. And what else, though? If you have all these clients, what else is a part of that?
What else? Like, so I get all these clients, so it means more work. It means more opportunities. It means that the things I'm doing are working, but also that I have to get my systems and stuff, make sure like they're good.
And now you're coming from a place of, dang, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
It's not enough. And so, but I think that in visualization it is important to think about it's more work, right? It's not like, oh man, I'm gonna have more clients. And then, you know, every morning I'm gonna wake up and be like, yes, I have 200 clients. Like, you know, I feel crazy with 2 clients sometimes or with 3, 4, like it's not, you need a full picture, and then that also brings you back to, oh, this is who I need to be, or this is what I need to be doing. But making sure that you're framing it from that, how good it feels and what this feels like, but not to start it out like, I don't want to feel like I'm just spinning my wheels, or I'm tired of, you know, working all day, but like I don't have any other clients, or I don't know how, like saying it from a place of what's wrong now or what you don't have. And just being careful that you even listen to yourself, like maybe even do this out loud. Or for me, I write it. And in another episode, we did an exercise where I wrote mine down. That way I could look at myself, because to listen to somebody else or to hear what someone else has to say, you know, it's very easy for me to like be kind of clear and like hear past tense or hear, you know, this language or that language, because it's not my past stories, but they're yours.
Yeah.
And so to talk about it or to write it down, you kind of got to go outside of it and look at it. But again, I think there's a lot more like self-discovery and like questions you start asking yourself, or things you start to uncover, like, oh, I really feel like this, or like things like to you, having more clients means more work, and having more clients means having systems, and having more clients means a few other things that you said, not that they are or aren't, but just recognizing what you're associating with it, right? And like this whole package. And so I think we can really now look at that and say, all right, but what do I want to visualize this to look like if I really have X amount of clients? And quite frankly, maybe it's not the clients. Sorry, I'm like still talking, but maybe it's the fact that you want to feel a certain way. And even with that, you can feel like that with your one client.
Or with no clients.
Yeah, maybe. But the point to that is maybe that's the visualization isn't the clients. Maybe if there's a certain way you want to feel about, I want to have impacted people, or if I want to feel like I'm secure, how many ways can that happen besides just being like, oh, I need another client?
Oh, I like that.
Like there's a lot of other ways to make you feel what you're looking for without that thing. So it's almost like back to kind of at the beginning, like what is really the why, and like what is it you're really trying to visualize? It's not really the client, like it's more than that, right? And so now we're open to how many ways can that happen, because you might not get a client, but you might get a partnership with something, or a friend might say, hey, here's $10,000 or whatever, right? So there's lots of different ways for things to happen. And I think visualization is getting in that mode of feeling like you feel that thing that you're really looking for.
I love that. And it's so interesting. Like I said, as someone who practices visualization like often and even leads people through visualizations and use it as a tool, like how quickly we got to the root of where things were coming from for me, when it comes to like thinking like, oh, I have to expand my business so I can feel more secure, so I can feel validated, like all the things I've been doing are working, like, so I can feel good about myself, and just kind of unwinding. Unraveling is probably a better word. Unraveling where all that need comes from.
And the same things for me, and I'm going to save this for the other episode because we might be like basically turning it into a part 2 kind of. But, in the same way, I looked at my thoughts and I was looking at things like, oh, I'm starting to see different things to switch or to catch now, or different ways to think about things, or not be limited to things. Like there's so much limitation, but you think you're not, but you are. Even in saying like, this is going to be more work, or I should be working hard. Like even that is stupid, right? Like, cause why are we trying to work hard to get to a place where you don't have to work hard? Like, so all of it like compounds to like, oh, I could just be chilling now, or I could, be doing things differently now and feeling those things now.
This brings me back to, one of the first episodes we did when the pandemic started, and you were talking about how, some days it would be nice to come home and like have someone be able to celebrate, with you, or to, just lay up and watch TV or whatever. But you're like, I'm really being intentional about just loving myself in those moments. And so not waiting on feeling loved or validated whenever someone else can do it, but really, tuning inwards and seeing how that could happen for ourselves, and not limiting it to, I'm only going to feel, loved and secure and worth something if I have a partner, or if I get those clients, or if I do these things. But really, because
you won't still be secure.
No, you won't, because
you'll be the same person with more clients
or a partner or whatever. And so it's really tuning into yourself and figuring out what that is, and figuring out how you can do that on your own, and also being open to possibilities of that being loved. Maybe it's from your friends, maybe it's from family, maybe it's from a mix of everybody else, except for the one thing that you think will give you what you want or need.
That you're not really paying attention to, or you're working so hard over here that you're not realizing like there's money on the table right in front of you type thing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times you realize that when you just take a step back, or when you chill, or, just notice the places where you're running in circles and might not have to.
And so I want to I'm putting Lex on the spot. She didn't know I was going to do this, because I was going to lead us through kind of a visualization moment or exercise. But after the conversation, I think, were you about to say something?
No, I'm listening.
No, I was about to say, after this conversation we just had, I think it might be beneficial to, start with journaling and just some of these questions that we can ask ourselves to get to what the root of our visualization needs might be.
How do I want to feel?
Okay, that's a good one. How do I want to feel?
Who do I want around me, or what type of people do I want around me? Where do I want to be? Who do I want to impact? How do I look? All of these kind of go back to how I feel. So maybe these lead you back to that first one. What am I most proud of? What am I I don't know, just like what things make you feel good, and like where are you, how much you want to have, or things you want to have, maybe.
Yeah.
All of that.
Yeah. And I think those are great questions to start with. I would add some if you're thinking about it. So, you know, when, like in the future, like since we're visualizing, you know, like when I'm happy, what does my day look like? Like when I feel fulfilled, you know, how am I spending my time? What things do I see? Like when I wake up and I'm just grateful for a good night's sleep, when I wake up and I feel fulfilled in my purpose and I'm motivated and I'm excited, like what does that look like? Where are you waking up? What are you seeing? What are you feeling? Maybe what did you have for breakfast? And I think some of those it's all back down to like, what do you feel? And like, you know, thinking about ways that can be met. But I think this might also shed some light on things that you might be scared to admit to yourself, like that you might be passionate about, like, man, I want to start my day with a run and then I paint for a few hours or whatever, like things that you might be scared to admit to yourself, or that just might not come up in everyday conversation. So visualization is also an opportunity for you just to connect deeper with yourself.
There's something you said that I feel like I need you to expound upon.
Okay.
What was that last thing you were saying? Like, you don't want to admit to yourself?
Yeah, like, so I think that visualization allows you to go deeper with things that might be beneath the surface that you just either wouldn't come up in conversation with friends, or things that you might be scared to admit to yourself. Like maybe you are a creative deep down in your heart, but you are scared that if you become an artist that you're going to be poor for the rest of your life. And so you can't explore those.
Okay.
You can't explore that path.
Okay, yeah.
And so I think that
you're being led by fear instead of what you want to try to do.
Exactly.
It's very valid also to say, well, you know, I want to be a billionaire, but like, what is that? I don't know what that looks like, right? Like, how does that feel? And keeping in mind that what you think it might feel like might not be based in anything, and therefore, like, there's still research and stuff to do. Like, you can really look up people and look up the things, and, you know, somebody who might be doing that job or have that thing, and see how their life is, and like actually have something to visualize. Because I think at that point you realize that, you know, just because somebody has $1 billion, I don't even want to say just because, but, you know, somebody who has $1 billion probably doesn't wake up every morning like, yes, oh my God, I'm hyped. And like, you feel like you think that's what that looks like every day. And that goes back to, again, the accuracy of what does that life look like? Because it's almost as though you're imagining that person doesn't have any problems, or that person doesn't suffer, or that person doesn't deal with things. And that person does, and you do. And it's not that different from where you are as far as how it could feel, because you're not going to wake up every day like yelling and laughing like because you have 10 million in the bank. Like, you're not, and you think you are, but you're not. So it's like, damn, you can feel like that in your situation, because it's almost like it's just an amplified version of some things. Different things are going to be worse or bad still, more problems. And then some things are going to be better and great and good too. But it's still that same mix of life. Like, it's still just life. And so it's like bringing yourself to reality in that sense, to where not like, oh man, I can't dream about $1 billion. But the fact that you really know how, or you're really feeling like how that can feel, and you're being okay with that now.
Yeah. And more money, more problems. But realizing that even in those moments, like, it gives you an opportunity to say, like, maybe it's not the thing, like Alexia was saying earlier, maybe it's not the clients, maybe it's not the $1 billion, maybe it's not that relationship, but it's that abundance that comes from, you know, having enough, or it's that security, or it's that validation, and just getting down to the root of it, which I think is one of the biggest things that I like. One of the biggest benefits of visualization that I really like is it really helps you like drill down to what that thing is that you are, you know, working on or feel like you're lacking. But scientifically, there's a whole bunch of benefits for visualization too. So for people who are not necessarily ethereal, you know, believers and all that, like, scientifically, it helps reduce stress and helps you to remain more present in the moment.
It increases your confidence. But again, I say that just goes back to, you know, at any point you can have increased confidence. It's just you changing your mind. And I know that sounds mad stupid and like frou-frou, but yeah, that's what visualization is doing, is putting yourself in a place where you're good. And so now you're good. So practicing that allows you to be in that place at any time.
Yep. It challenges you to become clear on what it is that you want. And I would even stretch that to say like what it is that you need. If you feel like, man, I need clients for this, but you, like we said, go through the visualization, go through the journaling, the voice notes, whatever it is, you get down to the root of what it is that you really want and feel like you need. And also helping you increase positive thoughts. Most of our thoughts are negative during the day. And so this is an opportunity to be intentional and change that like negative visualization that we're kind of auto programmed with just because of life and moving into more positive thinking.
Wow, we still have more. Saying that because I'm like scrolling up the page and like, oh, whole other section.
No, this is quick, but it's just
we've been having good convo around it though. Y'all got spoiled with those few 30-minute episodes. Don't get it twisted. We got shit to say. A few more minutes.
We kind of walked through what visualization can look like. There are lots of resources, and I challenge you to kind of research and try to find some that work for you. But there are different like types and times of visualization. Like one, like I kind of already discussed, was morning visualization. So in your head, just practicing creating the day like how you want it, like imagining yourself like winning or even just being surrounded by positivity and love. And like Lex said, that's a choice. And then also, I challenge you to visualize yourself dealing with tough moments, but holding grace and space and forgiveness and kindness for yourself and everybody else involved.
So Carlie talks about how like in driving, I've told her that when I'm on the highway, I don't ever really get, what's it even called? Road rage like that, because when I'm driving, I almost like visualize. I'm visualizing we're all connected. And so it's almost like these invisible strings keeping all the cars connected. And so I'm paying attention all around me. And as this car's starting to come over, you know, like I'm already like in motion and like it's smooth. And as I'm going over, and, you know, there's no issues because I'm kind of looking in sync with everything and feeling everybody in flow. And I guess maybe that could be like a type of visualization. You have to go on that and what you see out of that. But, you know, I'm envisioning us all on one. And so we kind of are because, you know, I'm just like paying attention in that way and being present to the movement.
Yeah, I think it is a visualization, like not even intentionally thinking like I'm trying to visualize this. But when you said that, I was like, wow, I've never thought about that. And not that I have road rage, but I don't not have road rage sometimes, especially here in LA. People be driving me crazy. But ever since she said that, I've been much more mindful in the car. And I think that in moments that challenge us, there's always a greater opportunity of growth. And so just envisioning, you know, like arriving safely, everybody moving together, we're all flowing. That's something I hadn't really ever thought of. And I think it's important to do that considering not currently at the moment, but a lot of us spend a lot of time in the car moving from one place to another. And so it's a chance for us to change that and to change our relationship with it. Another one I mentioned a few times, but performance. I think that you can optimize your performance with visualization, whether it's, you know, before a big presentation, before a speaking engagement, before you're teaching a class, before you know, go run or work out or whatever, like just changing your relationship and being able to see yourself perform in the ways that you want to. And then the last one, a great time also to visualize and to practice these things is at nighttime. So like you're setting yourself up for success the next day, or perhaps you had a tough conversation that didn't go the way you wanted it to, and maybe you can envision yourself responding with grace or, you know, reacting from a place of love as opposed to triggers or projection or whatever might have happened that you might not be okay with, and allowing yourself that space to visualize it and having a new opportunity the next day.
I do that a lot. I have a lot of conversations with other people in my mind, and then I stop to say something different or think more about what I would have said and like, why would I say that? And then I like dig in again on myself, or I like think of what I would say and why that's a better choice, even though that's not my first automatic reaction. And it actually does make a really big difference when I talk to people, because now it's like I've seen like the different ways that the conversation can go based on where I'm coming from. If I'm coming from a space of love versus if I'm coming from a place of fear. And I would also use that to make sure that I would try not to reach out to people or call them if I was coming from that place. So making sure that it would be pure in my communications, I guess.
I like that. I did that today, actually, and I thought about you. because I think you're very thoughtful with how you communicate with people. And so, yeah, that's also why I wanted to add that on there. Anything else for visualization?
I don't think so.
Man, super hype about this week's shout out per usual. It is the Glass Skin Company, Glass Skin Co. The links to Instagram and the website will be up. But my friend Trinice, she is a civil engineer, an environmental engineer, and a chemist. And she just has a lot going on. And so I don't want to like undersell her, but I want to make sure I put all of those things because she's super accomplished for being especially so young, but just in general. But she started a quality skincare line that is accessible and easy to understand. It's as simple as that. She makes sure you know what ingredients there are. She puts a lot of skincare tips, and it's a Black woman-owned company. So y'all definitely check her out, support. She's in LA, so local Black woman-owned company. Super dope. And I love all her little tips about, you know, why you do these things or why you do this or what this exact ingredient does and the importance of it, because I don't think a lot of skincare companies are as clear.
Transparent with what's in there and why.
And she launched, her scheduled launch was right at the beginning of the pandemic, and she kept it moving, and it's been cool to see. She also has, I think, hand sanitizers and some masks, like appropriate ones, like on her site that you can also buy.
They're not jazzy.
N95, whatever they are. But yeah, so definitely check her out, Glass Skin Company.
They're not yarn.
No, she's not crocheting masks. These are like the medically efficient ones.
They'll actually protect you. Good. Congratulations. Yeah, it's really cool. And now is a really good time to be into products and drop shipping and all that. FYI. So this week, our question is,
dun, 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 dun.
What do you spend the most time thinking about?
Man, love. I spend the most time thinking about ideas and self-improvement and ways to give back, and also people that I love, like on a very real thing. What about you?
I had to think through a couple things to get down to the real for me. And then I would say my real is I think I spend the most time thinking about what I can do as far as like, literally, like, what can I do right now? How can I be busy, or how can I be doing something right now? I think that's what I spend the most time thinking about is what can I do right now?
So what do y'all spend the most time thinking about? At Carlie's Couch, at CC Fierce, at Lextopia. Hit us up, let us know, and also leave us a review, please, if you feel so inclined. 5 stars only, though, of course.
Thank you for listening. We hope to see you. Oh, shit. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next week.
Bye, y'all.